Today I'm going to be diving into an Amber Steel Song deck that I'm taking to an upcoming store championship this weekend. So Steel Song has been a popular deck ever since set 1, really. It's just got so much power. It uses Amber's singing ability combined with Steel's songs and removal. Your biggest advantage, your win condition, is always going to be your songs and your ability to cheat them out earlier with your singers. It's got some weaknesses. It's pretty easy to brick in this deck. You draw into 2 or 3 whole new worlds, and along came Zeus, and you can kind of be your own worst enemy if you're not careful. It's very susceptible to Pete, being able to have those actions blocked, and then the green 2-cost Ursula being able to rip your songs can hurt you, so watch out for those things. But as far as matchup goes, I was pretty comfortable bringing this to a store championship. I feel like it's got a lot of good matchups. It's really good into aggro. It's really where it excels. It's got a pretty good matchup into anything purple, really, and even the matchup against the DKP Sharks, that's not as bad as it used to be. I still have some trouble with the item build. That can be hard to deal with, but other than that, it's a pretty solid matchup into everything. So what I'd like to do is go into each of these cards in here, and it's a pretty standard build, but there's some choices that have been made I'd like to highlight for you. I'd like to point out I only run 12 uninkables. This deck, like I said, can brick easily, so I really wanted to keep that uninkable count down to not get bricked, because once again, you can be your own worst enemy with this deck. But to start off, we have the Cinderella 1-drop. The main reason you want to get her out is she sings those cheap cards, right? The Strength of Raging Fire, Let the Storm Rage On, being able to sing those and tackle the early aggro threats. She struggles a little bit with Daisy with that 4 willpower. Daisy can be hard for her to deal with, but other than that, any 1-drop that comes down, Cindy's able to take it out by singing a song. So one of the mainstays in this deck, definitely a 4 of. My other 1-drop, we have the Robin Hood 1-drop. The pretty vanilla card. Quest for 1, 2/2 stat line, nothing exciting. His main function is to shift into the bigger Robin Hood, and that's really why he's in this deck. He exists for that purpose, to shift 3 into that big Robin Hood. But having a 2/2 on board can be helpful in that early game to clear some aggro threats. This can be kind of a challenge keeping him alive until turn 3, so just be careful with that. Don't quest if you're wanting to shift into Robin Hood and there's a threat on the board. I'd also like to point out I don't run the Rhino Hamster package that came out in this last set for a couple reasons. I really am not a fan of the 1-drop. The 1/2 stat line just does nothing for me. And then shifting on 2, while it can be great, you only have 1 character on the board on turn 2, and I really don't like that. I feel weaker with Strength of Raging Fire. You want more characters on board. If I'm trying to outrun red-blue, having just that 1 character just never felt good. So I might change my mind on that. I know a lot of people are big Rhino fans, but I went for the Robin Hood package instead of the Rhino fan. Next, we have our 2-cost singers. We'll start with the Troubadour. And this one, I used to only just run 4 2-cost singers. I'm up to 5 now, and I might go higher, but having that 2-drop singer is really crucial for this deck. They can sing any song in the deck outside of a whole new world and just provide so much pressure. I used to mulligan trying to find a 1-drop. That was my main goal, but I kind of found out if you get that 2-drop down, you can come from behind pretty easily and start to clear the board. Now, I run the 4 Troubadours with just the 1 Ursula. The Troubadour, you're going to want to run him if you're wanting to get that Bianca out on turn 4 with the ally ability that Vanessa doesn't qualify for. But they both do the same thing. They sing up to 4-cost songs. He's got the resist 1, and she's got the 4 willpower. So looking at Ursula, when you would want to use this is for the Rapunzel package. She can take a little more damage than the Troubadour and just is a better Rapunzel target. And I might mess with the numbers here. I'm going to try this 4-1 split, see how that does. I've had pretty good success with it online. But that's an area where I might adjust as needed. Our other 2-drop is the Smee. Smee is one of the best cards in Steel. 2-cost, 3/3, quest for 2. You accrues that damage as a Rapunzel target, but I gotta tell you, whenever I play him on turn 2, I almost always wish I had the Troubadour or that Ursula Vanessa instead. I'm always looking for that early board control. I thought about cutting Smee down to 3, maybe add another singer. It just doesn't feel right. And I'm not running the daisies anymore, so having that quick 2 lore quester is kind of essential into some of those red-blue matchups. So I left it at 4. He's kind of just a card you hate to love him. You have to use him, but I'm considering lowering him down to 3. Then we got Ariel, Spectacular Singer, definitely the MVP of the deck. She's got 2 amazing abilities. She can sing all the songs in the deck, sing her 5, and when you play her, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and you can take a song and put it into your hand. Her stats are nothing amazing, but just that ability to find a song and sing any song in your deck is crucial for this deck. I mean, you're going to be looking for whole new worlds to refill your hand. That's a big part of your game plan. Dump your hand out, refill it with a whole new world, sing those songs for removal. So definitely a 4-of in this deck. I have the Lawrence. I have 2 copies of Lawrence, and he's another one where I could, if I had to cut a card, it would probably be him. You know, his 4/4 stat line, Quest for 2, is really good. If he gets damaged, it goes to 0/4, but he's a great Rapunzel package, helps clearing the board early. So a solid card, but not one of my favorites in this deck. Then we have 4 copies of Pete. Now, Pete is probably the only card in this deck where if you're running Steel, you're running 4 copies of Pete. Every Steel deck is playing him. Such a good ability to block actions for the next turn. Into that red-blue matchup, he's going to protect you from Be Prepared for an extra turn. If you're playing the mirror match, just to shut the opponent down and they can't sing songs is huge. So really good ability. Again, not one of my favorite cards, but you can't play it without him. He's so crucial to the game plan. The 4-drop, we only have one 4-drop in this deck, and that is the Rapunzel. Now, one of the reasons I only run one of the Ursula Vanessas is because I only own 3 copies of Rapunzel Gifted with Healing. And I find it really hard to justify dropping $30 to $40 on a card that's going to rotate out next set. So I'm too cheap, bottom line, and I only run 3. If you have 4 copies, I highly recommend running 4 copies. It's such a powerful card. Her ability, she can heal 3 damage, draw a card for each damage. Pretty decent stats with the 1/5 and Quest for 2. She can sing anything but a whole new world. Great card. Definitely run 4 of if you have access to all 4. She's pretty much your plan B in terms of card draw. If you don't get that whole new world, if you don't have a singer out, maybe you don't want to refill your opponent's hand, Rapunzel's a great second option. Then we have the 5-drop Beast Tragic Hero. This is a card, I've been playing this deck for a while, and I just added him in this set. It's nice to have that backup plan to card draw. You know, if I don't have a Rapunzel target, or if I don't want to refill the opponent's hand, just having that Beast out there for the double card draw can be really helpful. And if he does get pinged, his attack goes up to 7, which is nice. You're dealing with locations or bigger willpower units. The next 5-drop unit that we have is the new Namari. She's got an ability when you play her, and every time at the beginning of your turn, you can draw a card, choose if you want to keep it, or discard a different card. It does need to be done before you draw for turn. So that's just a really helpful way to filter through your deck, find the answer that you need. She's also got an ability where her strength is equal to the amount of cards in your discard. So when you're playing Steel Song, she can get up to 20-30 strength. There's pretty much nothing that she can't take out. And it feels really satisfying to just one-punch McDuck Manor, just take it off the board. Our last 5-drop is the Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood. This is the card, when it first came out, I wasn't really sold on it. But it's got such great abilities. When you banish a character, you gain 2 lore, and when your Robin Hood is banished, you draw a card. So kind of another backup plan to help with the card draw. It also has great stats. You know, with a 3 attack, you're going to dodge the brawls, you're going to dodge Sisu, and with the 6 willpower, you're out of Zeus range, so you're safe in a lot of ways. Now that Medusa's gone, or not as prominent, it's been really nice to run him. In the 6th slot, we have Aerial Sonic Warrior. Again, another card that I think is gaining a lot of traction. Wasn't super popular when it first came out, but she's got a lot of cool abilities that make her a great addition to this deck. The first one being she shifts on to your Aerial Spectacular Singer on curve, right? You play Aerial on 3 and shift her on 4. She's a pretty big threat. She's got a 3/8 stat line, really hard to deal with. Feels bad when they Medusa her, but Medusa, again, is not very prominent in the meta, so you're usually safe in that area. But our main ability, the main reason we run her, is that when you play any song, you can pay 2 ink to deal 3 damage to an opposing character. It's pretty much like a built-in cheaper version of Smash, that every time you play a song, and it's not just once per turn, every time you play a song you can pay 2 extra ink to deal 3 damage. Kind of helps with the board wipes, kind of makes it possible to Grab Your Swords out of your deck. Our other 6-drop is the Bianca. Again, I run 4 Troubadours so that I can shift her in early. She's got great stats, 5/5. Getting that out on turn 4 feels great. I kind of think of Bianca, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Mighty Ducks with the Bash Brothers, but my 2 copies of Bianca are kind of my Bash Brothers, right? A lot of my characters are kind of low stat, low attack singers. So they kind of need some protection, and she comes in and she can one-shot Maui. She can take out pretty much anything they have on the board and help keep my characters safe. Moving into the songs, we have World's Greatest Criminal Mind. This is another one where I wish I didn't have to run it, but there's so many sharks out there. That's the main reason you're going to run this, is to take out the enemy sharks. And it does feel pretty satisfying to have your one-drop Cindy sing this and take out a Maui half shark. But it can also deal with some other threats. You got your green Clarabelles, the legendary Clarabelle, Maleficent Dragon, the big Tamatoa from set 1. There are some other things that can take out Maui. Hero to All is another one. So a good thing to have. There's a lot of times when it's just your primary ink source. The first thing you do when you see it is ink it. The next song that we have is the 3-cost Let the Storm Rage On. This card, it can be trouble if you pull it too soon or it's not needed. You can't ink it, so it just kind of sits there. But a great source of card draw. Cindy can sing it on turn 2. But what I find more than often than not is that I use this song to kind of ping my own characters so I can use Rapunzel's ability to draw 2 cards. That's probably the main reason that this card is in the deck. It is helpful for taking out or finishing off something that is about to be banished, but the primary reason I run this when I play it is for the Rapunzel ability. The next song we're running is Strength of a Raging Fire. This song deals 1 damage per character that you have on the board, so that the potential is unlimited. However many characters you have on the board, that's how much damage you can do, and Cindy can sing it on turn 2. So it's really great for clearing those early threats, but also you can take out things with pretty high willpower if you have enough characters on the board. Just a very versatile song, and it's great that it's inkable. So if you're in a position where you don't need it, you ink it. It does feel really bad when you're in top deck mode with no characters on the board and you pull this card. That's the only time that I do not like to see that card. In the 4 slot for songs, we have Along Came Zeus. I used to only run 2 of these and then a couple Grab Your Swords, but this song is just so powerful. The 5 damage is key. It takes out Maui Half Shark, takes out a lot of bigger threats, takes out opposing 2-drop singers or Rapunzels or Beasts. There's a lot of things that it takes out, and you can sing it pretty cheap and pretty early with this deck. If you have to hardcast it, it doesn't feel too bad because of the amount of damage that it does to your opponent's game plan. And it can also be used to hit opposing locations like the library, McDuck Manor, and that's really nice to have with this deck that doesn't have a ton of offensive power. The last card we run is another one where this deck doesn't work without it. 4 copies of the 5-cost A Whole New World. When you play this song, each opponent discards their hand and draws 7 more. So I will say, if you are wanting to learn to play this deck or improve in this deck, I think one of the most important things is to know when to use A Whole New World. Sometimes it totally shifts the tide of the game, right? Turn 4, your Ariel sings it, you get a whole new hand, but sometimes you're doing more damage than good when you refill that opponent's hand. So knowing when to use it is key to this deck. When it's used correctly, it's pretty hard to beat, right? You sing A Whole New World into another one, you just keep dumping your hand and playing the next one. But it also can be bad if you don't know when to play it. Or when you mulligan into 3 of these, it feels very bad, and it's kind of hard to recover from that. So like I said, this is a very consistent deck. It's been around since set 1. Nothing too different in my build here, but there are some key cards that you could add that I've thought about adding, and probably in 5th place for that is Grab Your Swords, the ability to do 2 damage to every opponent's character. And there are definitely times when I miss that card, right? You're playing maybe Churnadog, they have 7 characters out, and if you had that, you could clear the board. It's just the closest thing we have to a board wipe, to a B prep. And then Ariel's ability to sing it as a 3-cost singer is huge. But I really wanted to keep the uninkable count in this deck low. I tried to keep it at 12. I didn't want to go over that. And I just found when I mulliganed into that, or when I didn't have a singer, it just felt like a really bad card to have in my hand. And most of the time, I just want Zeus to deal with something bigger. Number 4, we have Cinderella Stout-Hearted. She is just an amazing card. 5/5 resist 2, can attack opposing characters who are readied as long as you've sang a song. Just really hard to deal with outside of a B prep or a Hades or something like that. But it's really hard to get her out, right? You got to keep your 1-drop Cindy alive till turn 5 to shift, and that's just really hard to do. If you can, it works great. Quest for 3, you're pretty much good at that point. But getting her out is a real challenge, and the main reason I don't put her in this deck. At 3, we have Naveen, another great card, great stats, Quest for 2. Just his ability can be game-changing. When you play him in Whole New World or Zeus or Grab Your Swords, it can really turn the game around, but he's uninkable, and when I took Grab Your Swords out, it really didn't make sense to have him in it as well. So that was unfortunate, but I did pull Naveen out of the deck. Number 2 is Daisy Duck. I love having 10 1-drops in my deck. It doesn't feel good when you mulligan and you don't have a 1-drop. So having that consistency of finding a 1-drop was really nice, but she is uninkable. She does provide a card to your opponent if it's a character on the Daisy trigger. And normally what I would use her for is a Rapunzel target. So I wouldn't even quest with her, which is the primary reason you'd run a Daisy, is to quest get that 2 lore early. But I would keep her ready, maybe put her into a Crab or a Calhoun to get that 3 card draw off the Rapunzel. So that was a hard choice to take her out, but I just looked at my deck and I said, we're trying to control the board and then go from there. And she didn't really help that game plan. Number 1, we have Bare Necessities. This card just has so many ways you can use it. You're playing against Ruby, you can take their B preps. If you're playing against Sapphire, you can take their McDuck Manors, you can take their Sails, Popsicles. If you're playing in the mirror match, you can steal the opponent's songs. Discard, you can take their discard things away. So just a lot of good ways to use it. It has a lot of good features. Why I didn't like it is that when I was going first, I never wanted to play it on 2. We want to get a character down. And when I sang it with Cindy, it just felt like I was running out of cards so quick, right? When you're playing a character every turn and singing a song every turn, you can start to run out of cards. And so the main reason I stopped running it is I would brick. I'd run out of cards, be it 4 ink, and not even be able to pay for a whole new world if I wanted to. So that's the main reason I took this out. There are definitely times where it's missed, definitely times I've thought about switching out maybe World's Greatest Criminal Mind with it. I have seen a lot of this new Amber Steel kind of discard build that's going around where it really leans into that discard ability, and I can see the potential of it there, but I think that's not the direction that my deck wants to go, and so I had to cut it out. So what do you guys think? What would you change? What would you do differently? What have you had success with in the past? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching Knight in Training, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, that would really help me out, share it with a fellow Illumineer, and keep learning the game one misplay at a time.